Well, on the outskirts of the Arden Forest, on the classic racing track surrounded by the many trees, fast sweeping corners, medium slow downforce, and many classic incidents. Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Seen in the 1998 pile-up, and also the scene of last season where Sebastian Vettel dominated part of the season. Hopefully we won't see much of that this season. To see XRL Stewart going around in a 145.4 on the option tyres to really underline the pace compared to the likes of Alonso, who's also in there in third. I'm Pete Markoff. The coverage tonight is brought to you by GT Omega Racing and GamePod.com.uk. CRO buttons to the 45.4 on the prime tyre. Wow! Well, currently a lot of drivers have already done their laps. Stewart's on a wind-down lap. Ciaro in fourth place on a 45.4. He's on the option tyres though, so Ciaro Button's really blown away the top of the field because the next Prime's runner seems to be all the way down at XRL LGS in P6 on a 47.1. So we're talking 1.5 seconds on the same tyre to him. And Reese 26, former double world champion, really struggling on a 47.3 in the Lotus, despite being on the option tyres. Now, Enamara Starindigo's just leaving the pits now on a set of the prime tyres. It'll be interesting to see what he does. XR Roberts is just going through the Lake Coombe section at the start of Sector 2 on his outlap. So we're in that crossover period already, but for Lefferty, meanwhile, he's currently coming up to the end of the lap on the option tyres. Just coming up to the remodeled bus-stop chicane, pale shadow at his former self, and he's actually aborted and gone straight into the box. So, all the drive's been quite scruffy so far. Well, in the old days, of course, you used to have the tight left-right at the start of the section and then also the right-left at the end. And it made it tricky because that's where the pit lane entrance used to be. So it used to be about getting your line right without crossing the racing line. Now with the new nature, you don't really get that as much unless you get drivers overshooting and cutting back across like Alexander Wirtz did back in 2006. Now, meantime, XRL Fozzie's gone out for his first lap on the option tyres of Williams. Goes into the last horse hairpin, gets a little bit of a lock up there, who manages to get a nice run on the outside, gets a little run on the curve, probably scribble a few Ks off his tyres, but he's still going on now to the fabulous Old Rouge. Let's listen on board. Slight lift in the middle there, not confident in the car, really finding it difficult to get it planted through the top and onto the Camel Straight DRS zone 1 of 2. He should be hitting around 208 miles per hour here, but he's a few miles per hour down, probably with a higher downforce approach, but into Lake Coombe, you can see how quick he was on the brakes there, heavy braking zone, and one of the reasons why the tyres here are the medium and the hard, despite it being a low downforce circuit. Going through the Brewstone corner and then into the tighter Rivage one. Many people going wide there. You can see how he's actually got all 4 tyres slightly over. There's no real penalty for doing that, apart from the fact, of course, you'll get one of our penalties. But look at Piron there. He's very lucky to get away with that. If you actually get right on the top of the sausage curb, it can pull you right off the circuit and into the wall. You really don't want to be doing that. And I think he's actually aborted the lap as a result of that. Quite scruffy. Just trying to cycle through it now, because a lot of drivers are coming on the second runs of their outlaps. Problem with Spa-Francorchamps is that it's such a long lap that you've got to time your runs perfectly, or else you could find yourself getting caught out where you're not able to get your lap in. And it's especially tricky if the weather comes in. Now, according to the reports, it's going to be 0% chance of rain for both. Now, XRL Bullets, meanwhile, in the Ferrari, it's just gone through Stabilo and into curve Paul Ferrari, goes just onto the outskirts, cuts the curve beautifully. Ooh, got a little bit of a sideways crab movement then off the outside of the corner. Very unusual to see that. And then we're coming now into the very fast Blanchimont corner. No lift whatsoever, went through there nearly 200 miles an hour. Really shows the committing, and then into the bus stop chicane. Looks like he's getting a bit squirrely on the brake and got it stopped in time. We've got yellow flags on the circuit for some reason. Not quite sure why. And a 146.2, it's a good lap from Bob at start. Obviously, off the ultimate pace of Button, but for the prime tyres, that's a pretty solid run. That gets into P5 for now. But Searu, the second race only of him, because he had a fantastic debut at the Hungaroring last week, he'll be hoping to follow over here at the Spa-Francorchamps.
Right, my mistake, everyone. You've been able to hear Pete all this time, but my mic's been on mute, so you haven't really been listening to me at all. You've been listening to Pete.
Unless, of course, you've been on Channel 2 and you've heard both of those. Now, going into last horse happen, Searu getting a decent run on the inside there. Went a little wide at the apex, but due to the camber in the corner, you can get away running wide. It's why it's a good place that there's early laps there, unless, of course, you're Romain Grosjean in the 2012 season. Going through the Eau Rouge corner, gets beautifully on the apexes there, really putting the car planted. I'm looking forward to actually seeing this track in real life this year. With the higher torque engines in V6s and the lower downforce, I reckon Eau Rouge is going to be a terrifying corner once again.
You going this year, are you?
Unfortunately not, but I'll still be watching it.
Okay. Well, I'm on board with Fearless. He's currently P2, 45.4 and TRL buttons. Nearest challenger. He's just going through the end of the second sector now. This looks an okay lap. I don't think he's going to be improving as he comes up with Blanchimont, but we'll see if he continues on his lap.
Meantime, Searu is just coming down towards Pouon. What looks quite competitive. Needs to find a few more Ks. Oh, he once again runs onto that curb at Pouon. Drivers are getting away with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's as aggressive as the last couple of years, but it can easily kick you off. We all know it, where you just ride on top of it. And here comes Fearless, and he's in the 45 dead. He's gone pole.
Well, that's a good start that there from XRL Fearless. We're going for a cover Paul Ferrari.
45-1 from Stuart Button is down into P3 on the prime tyre.
But then again, the top two are on the options, I presume. At least I saw Stewart was on it. I don't know about Fearless. So yeah, so you can see that's only a few tenths on the slower compound tyre. On a track like Spa, that's a huge advantage. Into the bus-stop chicane, Searu on the option tyres. Oh, gets a bit too tight into the corner and realises the lap is gone. So he's straight into the pits. And XRL GS, he's on an out lap, so I thought he might be getting held up there.
Here comes Button, this looks good. Button now going out through the last corner, down to start finish, and he has improved to a 45.1 P2 on the prime tyres again. Great, and
that's only a tenth between the two different tyres, where you would expect at least 8 or 9 in terms of the overall compounds.
I don't think it is that much this week. I think it's more about 5 to 6 tenths I've been hearing from a lot of the drivers.
Well, that means then he's got 4 tenths in ultimate pace.
Yeah, that's right. He's got a bit in ultimate pace over the rest. So Reese 26 is a bit off. So is LGS. They've really got to up their game. Alonso's doing a good job from GP2. Slight 1.3 off the pace of 46.3. Bobert's Searu's doing a good job. Only 4 tenths, but top 5, 4 tenths off between them. And there's people like Taco, Lewis Hamilton could probably get in there as well. Sean Bean may be able to get into the mix. Let's wait until they've done the lap.
Well, Velocity now going through Stabilo down towards Curve Paul Ferrari. Looking like a decent lap as the end sector 2. We've not got the split times, unfortunately. That'll make things nice and easy, wouldn't it, to determine where everybody's pace really is. But Velocity going through this kind of like Valencia section at the end of sector 3, where it's flat out and there's lots of kinking corners. But you've still got this fearsome corner, Blanchimont right-hander. It's so easy to go off into the wall there. Just ask Esteban Gutierrez. Into the bus-stop chicane. Velocity getting a nice ride on the entry, but again, not got the ultimate pace and finds himself going straight back into the box. Velocity's really got to be careful here, because despite being only a few tenths off, he's actually quite a few places down overall, and that's going to make things tricky in order of getting out of the pack at the start of the race. Oh, meanwhile, XRLGS gets a horrible amount of oversteer going through Lake Hume. Really got the car into a pitch, into a spin almost. Managed to catch it without doing anything for his speed on this lap.
So that's Button's qualifying. So he is not going to be on the front first.
Now this is ironic. XRL LGS, who told me to watch out for track extending at the corner after Rivage, and Pouon has just track extended at both corners.
He's just testing you.
He doesn't need to test me. He knows I'm a Nazi when it comes to the white line. I don't need testing. In fact, he's tested me again because he's gone wide at campus as well. And now he's gone off at Stavolo and led back onto the track. Beautiful. So we've got a lagging car in XRL LGS in qualifying. That's not what we want to be seeing. Now, Reese 26, meanwhile, he's down in P10 at the moment. Let's see if he can improve on this lap of the Lotus. A 1:46.5 goes to P9 only. So despite gaining nearly a second in his ultimate pace, he's wound himself down in the 1:40, down in 9th place. Now, XRL GS, again, lag spike to the right there. I don't think this is his car. He's going to cross the line. Is it going to be an improvement? No, it's not.
That is so depressing when you see, like, 9th, 10th place LGS. He's quicker than I am around here. You get people like
now,
Alonso.
This is interesting. Sean Bean and NMR Mr. Indigo have not yet set lap times. Now, Sean Bean's only just gone through Lake Coombe. He might not make it round for a lap. NMR Mr. Indigo, meanwhile, is only just that campus. So he's going to be touch and go as to whether he can get in for a lap here.
Oh, well, with Lewis Hamilton, he's going to be struggling as well. He probably not even will make it with about 10 seconds to spare, I think.
And Mr. Indigo's just gone through curve apart for Ray. He's got traffic ahead of him and nothing he can do about it. If he wants to get onto the grid and get a decent slot, he has to make this count. Just going through Stabilo now, only got 20 seconds to go. This is going to be touch and go here as I go into the bus stop chicane. I think, oh, he's got one of the McLarens slowing down. I don't know if that driver's getting out of his way. No, he's not, so he's going to be stuck in traffic on this lap. And then Mr. Indigo's caught the worst attempt at the worst possible time, and he crosses the line with 5 seconds to spare. So he's going to have time to set a lap, but he's got traffic right ahead of him. It's the last thing he wants. Going into last source heaven, he's been held up by the Toro Rosso and spun. He's been hit by the Toro Rosso, and that's his lap time gone. And now Mr. Indigo is not going to get into the top 10. I'm not sure who that was in the Toro Rosso. It was Lewis Hamilton. It was Hamilton who held him up.
The thing is, they're both on flying laps. They don't have to let anyone through, but it just could have been dealt with, I think, a lot better. They had about 10 seconds to play with, so...
Both across the line, about 5 seconds to go. You think that at the same time Indigo may have just risked backing off. Same time, Hamilton really should have gone out there quicker. Got XR Bobbers because wide in the bus stop chicane. He's going to complete his lap. I don't think there's going to be much of an improvement here.
How wide do you want to go out of that last corner? In fact, he's slowing
He's had his backs off completely, hasn't he? He's got out of that completely.
He doesn't want those tyres. I think he's gone on primes from that time. He's not gone any better. We've got NMR Mr. Indigo and Lewis Hamilton who aren't going to be improving on their laps.
XRL Fearless is on a hot lap, but I don't think he's going to be bothering to complete it.
No, he doesn't need to, does he? He doesn't need to waste the tyres, but he still seems like he's pushing reasonably hard, so... Well,
Stewart's just gone for a curve of Paul Ferrari. He's currently in 3rd place. He might be having his eye on getting ahead of TRL Button and getting onto the front row of the grid and the Williams. Oh, he puts his car on the dust just before Stabilo, but manages to keep it going as we head towards the bus stop chicane in the final section here. As Spa-Francorchamps gets on the brakes nice and late, wides the curves. This is all-out attack from XRL Stewart. Can he steal one here? DRS flap open, and no, he's no improvement.
Not quite.
Meanwhile, in the meantime, the Paragon 125 has come onto the stream saying he's really rooting for Lewis Hamilton tonight. Well, you might have cursed him because he's starting in P14, having held up NMR Mr. Indigo. So pole position goes to XRL Fearless, but only a 10th behind is TRL Button. Less than 100th back is Stewart. Velocity in 4th on the 145.3, Sayara 145.4. So only half a second between the top 5. Really close.
And there's different tyre compounds in there as well. This could be a really, really close race.
It'll be interesting to see how the stints and the tyres go, because don't forget, TRL Button, despite starting second and only being a 10th off pole position, is on the prime tyres. So he's going to be in pound position with regards to his tyre wear. But it's crucial he gets past immediately, because if he gets stuck in turbulent air, that advantage will be eaten away slowly as the wear is taken away. And of course, this Spa-Francorchamps, go out too wide at Eau Rouge, you're into the wall. Go too wide at Purbeck-Halfray, you're in the wall. It's so easy for there to be a safety car despite the wide areas of runoff. You cannot rule out the race changing on a dime.
Right, so who's your prediction for the winner? Guys, everyone on the stream, we've got plenty of people on our stream. So I've got Mr. Steve-O, Connor Eyes, Samps, the BRFC, Unex Monster. I think that's Silver Shark from the old days. We've got on your stream, we've got Paragon signing in for the night. Good evening to you all. Who's your prediction for the win, guys? There's plenty of people that have got a chance, and I'm going to stick my neck out on the line here and say, Stuart.
Well, I actually think it's probably more than likely going to be TRL Button. For the sake of not being predictable, I would not be surprised, though, if someone like Velocity can come through. We saw last week at the Hungaroring, only takes a disconnect, only takes someone making an error. And don't forget the pit lane here, kind of like the Hungaroring, has that awkward entry. And it's so easy, if you get that wrong and lose your front wing, that can cost you 5 or 6 seconds. It only takes that to make a big difference between the compounds. Meantime, on the streams, of course, you can send messages either via the actual messages on the stream itself, or you can do what BHA Captain Wader has just done and send it via Xbox Live to myself, Swishbone, or you can send it to Dan as XRL Bernie. Now, BHA Captain Wader, he's saying that because of the power of the slipstream, he thinks Ciaru will be first, Button second, and Hamilton third. Well, Hamilton's going to have to channel the real-life counterpart if he's going to have any chance in the Spa Grand Prix here. Starting all the way down in 14th, though we will have fresh tyres. Now, we are going to get ourselves down to the final countdown. 44 laps, long race, anything is possible. Best way to find out is get out onto the circuit. So here we are on the grid, 44 laps of Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium to come up. On the stream, Paragon of 125 records, it's Velocity for the win, with behind him Stewart and Button. Be interested to see if that prediction plays out. We've got 44 laps, we've got many tight corners like La Source, we've also got the tricky corners like Pouan and Campus. Anything is possible, long straights, high speed and low downforce. Once those 5 lights go out, we will be racing. And it's lights out, and away they go.
So it's a short run down to turn 1.
Indeed it is. The XRL Fields gets off the line quite well. Ciaru Button though tries to go around the outsides of the source. We see many drivers do a home collision, and meanwhile one of the sister McLarens hitting the side of Stewart. Meanwhile Ciaru Button's got a run on the outside down towards Eau Rouge. He gets ahead. Now question is, can Fearless do a Mark Webber and dive on the inside? He's going to have a look here down the Camel Straight. He's trying to side from the inside off the top of Radion. Going down the Camel Straight. Curse deployed. XRL Fields deep in the slipstream. Ciaru Button sticks to the middle of the circuit. Doing everything he can to retain that place. It's going to come down to Lake Coombe. XRL Fields saying, oh, we will Stewart on the inside. The Williams is getting involved. And XRL Fields has lost now. He's down in 3rd position as one of the Lotuses hits in that Velocity trying to attack him. XRL Fields down to 3rd. 2nd place, meanwhile, XRL Stewart is now all over the gearbox of Ciaru Button as XRL Fields has got Velocity behind him.
We have someone in the wall right at the back. Who is that?
Not sure, but a lot of drivers pushing
Hamilton.
the outside AstroTurf. So Hamilton, having started in 14th, he's down at the back of the grid. Right on board with Velocity, he's looking at the back of Fearless, going through Pouan. He was trying to get close to the back of XRL Fearless, but behind him, he's got Ciaru and the McLaren, who's had a great start, all the way up to P5, getting very close here. And these 5 cars, covered by maybe 3 seconds, all these cars will have the high slipstream, being able to attack. Ciaru getting into the side of Stavelot, goes a bit too wide, and that's going to open the door for, I think that might be XRL Bullets in the Ferrari. Indeed it is. So Bullets looking at the back of Ciaru and the McLaren now. But up ahead we've got a huge opportunity as Ciaru Button has done what he had to do. Into La Source and down to Eau Rouge. He's got past Fearless. And also he's been held out by Stewart's magnificent overtake through Lake Coombe. But Stewart faster to go into the bus stop chicane. Fearless goes wide. Oh, contact with XRL Fearless for Stewart, who trots across him, and Velocity now goes through to P3. Well, XRL Fearless has gone from podium off the grid completely. He's gone from pole position to 4th.
So what happened with Fearless there? How did he lose the position?
It looked like he went deep going into the bus stop, and I think he was caught out because XRL Stewart was having a look at Ciaru Button. And what's happened then is that Stewart's gone wide in the second part of the corner when he's got the cutback and shots across him and collided slightly. Meantime, Mr. Steve-O reckons Button will win, unfortunately, yawn. But he thinks Fearless will come, he hopes Fearless comes first, and also Ciaru comes second. Well, Ciaru's attacking, but up ahead, meanwhile, Ciaru Button's not got it on his own way because Steve-O in the Williams is right behind him and definitely giving him a push for his money here.
Yep, and we just had Alonso make a good move on the McLaren of Sayari. So, yep, it was Sayari through Eau Rouge, just before Eau Rouge made a good move there by Alonso. He tried to fight back, but couldn't quite get it done by the end of the straight. So, Alonso up into P6. P5 now is XRL Bobbert, so he's had a reasonable start, and on the prime tyres too, so be wary of him.
Yeah, but fifth Alonso now is chasing after as quick as he can. Now, I've got an interesting theory here. Is XRL Fearless one of the... Oh, who's off the track? Someone went off the track and then came back on. I don't know if that's one of the lagging cars. We saw XRL GS lagging badly in qualifying. I really hope that's not the case. That's not what we need here. As fifth Alonso's got a great run now, and XRL Bobbert's coming out of Curve of Paul Ferret. He's not going to have a chance through Stavelot, but if he can get a good run out of the bus stop chicane, he might have a chance down to Eau Rouge. Going into Stavelot, takes a look at the inside, gets too much curve, nearly spins the car, and as such, Sayara's having a look at the inside, into the bus stop. Sayara late on the brakes, gets the inside line, they brush tyres. Fifth Alonso tries to cut him back, they're side by side, leaving the bus stop, but Fifth Alonso has to yield, and Sayara, fantastic driving to take sixth place, but Fifth Alonso's not out of this. He's trying to go on the outside of Las Horse, and they're still side by side, these two. Fifth Alonso goes off the circuit, and Sayara takes the position. But looking up for this Eau Rouge, Sayara's not giving up here. On the back, Fifth Alonso's be attacking the back of Sayara. DRS will be available, so this will make things interesting. Flap opens wide. Look at Sayara's overspeed on XRL Bobbert down the Camel Straight. He pulls right ahead of him, gets on the brakes, and he's up into fifth place. So that's Sayara, fifth place in 3 corners.
Bobbert's not giving up that place though without a fight. He really was getting close through the little section there, but just can't quite get there. And now he's losing, and now Alonso might look to have a move on him as well. But look how far TRL Button has got through already. It's
because Velocity has got ahead of Stewart. I don't know how it's happened, but Stewart's now in P3, and Fearless wants to go around the outside of Buon. Well, that'll be a brave move, and he goes totally off the track. All 4 wheels off there. If he passes Steve-O here, he's going to gain an advantage to do it. Going through Campus. And Stewart's taking the inside line, Fearless on the outside, he's going to run out of road, he's going to be careful here, and Sayara's getting closer to mug him as we head into Stavelot, and Hamilton has already retired on lap 3, Hamilton is out, and Sayara does on the inside of Curve Paul Ferret. XRL Fearless in real trouble here, because Sayara now's going to have the filtering line going through. Oh, Sayara getting brushed there by XRL Fearless. He has to filter behind his head to blush him on, and XRL Fearless tries to go on the inside of Stewart, they collide, both cars go off, XRL Sayara gets away with it, gets the inside line. Is he going to get into third place there as Stewart runs wide? Stewart gets the cut back. Sayara's going to have DRS here, but next one Stewart will have it as well. As we head on the main straight. Oh, XRL Fearless has now lost connection. I don't know if that was dashboarded or what, but now XRL Bobbert is right behind Sayara as we head into Las Horse, and there's no DRS here, but it will be off Eau Rouge and Radion down the Camel Straight. These guys are all insanely close. Bobbert is thinking about a move on the inside of Eau Rouge. He's committed to a move. He's going to try it. There's been contact with Sayara. Sayara goes over the inside, but Bobbert does not give up. Goes around the outside of Radion. He's pulling into the slipstream of Stewart now. DRS flat wide open down the Camel Straight. Here we go, it's Hackett and Schumacher all over again as they split the car. Sayara goes on the inside, but Bobbert magnificently takes third place. Fantastic driving there from XRL Bobbert in the Ferrari to take third place away from Sayara. Both drivers driving magnificently down the Camel Straight, and right now Stewart is with them, and also behind him I believe that's going to be F. Alonso in the Toro Rosso as well. It's going to be only down in 6th place, but these 4 drivers are really pushing as Sayara goes off the track at Buon. That opens the door for Stewart, who goes at the inside. Fifth Alonso finally is following him into Campus, but Sayara's got the inside line. Surely he can hang on the outside here. Maybe the tyres are starting to fall off due to the high wear as Fifth Alonso dives onto the dirt, nearly spins the car, but manages to catch it. Through Curve Paul Ferret, Sayara's got a good line here as he attacks the back of X Stewart, doing everything he can to attack going into Blanchimont. We've seen the lines on the tyres already. These guys are really pushing hard. Ciara thinks about the inside to get a better line of bus stop. He's going to go on the brakes nice and late. Can he get the car stopped? He goes ahead and then busts to the outside. But Stewart brushes back. They both brush wheels. It's going to be DRS run down to last source, you believe here. And Ciara takes fourth for now. But behind him, Lou Williams of XRL Stewart gets on the outside, trying to karting line into last source. Ciara hangs on the outside for now, keeps hold of fourth place. Meanwhile, behind them, there's an almighty scrap at the back of the point. It's impossible to keep up here in Spa. Spiky Taco down in 11th place, would you believe? A pound of his pace totally out of the point, but he's chasing after, I believe that's Enema Mr. Indigo, who's in the Red Bull. As he gets on the blast, no, it's actually one, yeah, it is Enema Mr. Indigo, I believe. And he's on the brakes into the Camel straight down into Lake Coombe. And Spiky Taco has to let him through, he's just not got the grip. But the third part of Lake Coombe tries to take round the outside. Meanwhile, behind him is XRL Fuzzy, has lost connection now. We're down to even less drivers, only 12 men running. Of course, losing XRL Fearless means we actually lost our host, and that's going to change the game in terms of luck. Anything's possible now. LGS in 9th place, trying to chase after the Reese 26 in the second Lotus. In 7th place, we've got Sean Bean keeping himself out of trouble in Mercedes. Then we've got Fifth Alonso, Ciaru. Then we've got Stewart, and ahead of them in second place, I believe that's XRL Bubbert. Ciara in fifth is taking a look at Stewart as he heads towards Blanchimont, gets on the outside for his sector 3. He's going to try and wall them on the outside. We've lost connection to Hamilton, but he'd already retired. And Ciara goes all four wheels off on the outside of Blanchimont, and he's going to have the title line to the bus stop, but he can't get an advantage here. If he does, it's possible he's going to get a penalty. And indeed, he lets Stewart have the advantage for now, but he's going to get on the brakes and get on the DRS down towards last source. Can he get past this Williams? Can he dispatch Stewart, or will Stewart hang on? Onto the inside line, Stewart goes deep, and Ciara tries to cut back across him, but he does not have the grip.
Just clipped the back end ever so slightly of Stewart there, and that just meant that he couldn't get the perfect drive out. And as we speak, Alonso is that behind Ciara, who has now caught right onto the back and will have DRS on the pair of them. Could he make a double move?
Exactly, yeah, it could be a superb move and a double. It's a slipstream. Ciara goes on the grass. How did he avoid hitting the wall there? His car looked like it was fishtail all over the place. Ciara gets into fourth place with a scruffy way of taking it, but then Stewart gets better traction through Lake Coombe. Evidently that Williams is better set up for the higher speed corners, whereas Ciara's gone all out attack with the low downforce. Then Alonso on the inside of Bruxelles. That's going to give him the wider line. That's going to surely push him off the track here. He's going to have to yield. And that's all four tyres off the circuit. Finn Alonso has taken that position illegally. He's going to have to give that back to avoid a penalty. Stewart stares at the back of the Toro Rosso that's not yielding despite going all four tyres off when it completed the move. XRL Stewart can't do anything about Alonso at the moment. The stewards will no doubt want to have a look at that at the end of the race as Alonso makes a mistake in Stabilo. That's going to give Stewart a better run out of Curve de Porphyry down towards Blanchimont. XRL Stewart getting in the slipstream, trying to do everything he can to attack before Blanchimont, but there's no way through here. Like a sector 3 in Valencia, once you're in the slipstream, there's nowhere to go. Heading into the bus stop chicane, he's going to try and go around the outside and get the title line in the second corner. Alonso sees him, tries to cover him up, but Stewart's going to muscle his way past. Now Alonso's got the better traction on the outside. DRS comes into play, and Alonso's going to just hang on here, but XRL Stewart's not going to give up as they head down towards La Source. He thinks he'll get a tighter cutback. That's going to give him the slipstream into Eau Rouge. As they've already got someone to pit.
Watch the Mercedes on the right-hand side of Stewart, right behind him now to Sean B.
That'll be Sean B, 22, yes, on the prime tyres. Look at the sparks through Eau Rouge. These guys are going for the lowest car possible, and the plank will be getting eaten away ever so slowly. DRS flap over as we go down the Camel straight off Radion. Sean B fancies a double move here, gets into the slipstream, blast past Alonso. Has he got the grit to attack Stewart? No, he doesn't, but Stewart goes wide at the first part of Lake Coombe, and Fifth Alonso almost rear-ended Sean Bean, who had to get out of the gas there. Great driving to avoid causing an accident. going down through Bruxelles. Sean B 22 trying to attack the back of Stewart as much as he can, going into what's known as the corner with no name. Alonso once again, all 4 tyres off on the outside of that corner. He's going to avoid doing that too often, or the rules will state you'll get a penalty. Up ahead, Stewart goes off at Pouon, and Viv Alonso just keeps on the circuit behind Sean B 22. So the Mercedes trying to do everything it can to keep it close to that Williams, but it's just not close enough to attack through here. It's Stabilo and goes wide. That opens the door. Viv Alonso, big mistake for Sean B, and he's going to be rear-ended here if he's not careful. No, great driving. I think that's Reese 26 in the Lotus, who saw the danger and drove around the outside. Beautiful driving. Meanwhile, Velocity goes all 4 tyres off at Blanchimont, and that gives him an attack on Seyaru. Velocity's going to get ahead, but once again, I'm not sure how legal that move was, because it looked to me that all 4 tyres were off the circuit at Blanchimont, and that gave him the unfortunate run on Seyaru. But Seyaru's now going to potentially have DRS down the Camel Straight, so it's going to be hard to see who gains the advantage, apart from one man. TRL Button, because while all these guys are attacking each other, he's streaking off into the distance.
Roberts is having a really good race. Considering he's on the same tyre compound as Van, he's actually cleared these guys who are on option tyres, so he's doing a really good job.
DRS over for Ciara, who's got on the Camel Straight, very powerful, very high speed, right on the ball with a McLaren driver on heavy fuel. He's at 210 miles an hour, he goes on the outside of Lake Combe, goes a bit too deep, and Velocity defends, so Velocity keeps that position. It's questionable how he took it, but the fact is he's still there, and his car is still in front as we head down towards Bruxelles. Velocity gets a tighter line of Ciara, and Ciara is now under pressure from Stewart in the Williams, who's fought his way back to 5th place. All drivers once again going too wide at that corner after Bruxelles. It's so easy to do that, but that doesn't mean you should do it. And he goes wide at Pouon as well. Stewart getting away without being spun off the circuit there by that sausage curb. Meanwhile, the car, this is Paragon 125. He says he's heard of Hamilton. There's something went wrong with his wheel, and apparently kept putting it into reverse. Well, that's a technical glitch I've not heard of. But we did see Sean Bean last season having a glitch where his car started turning left for no reason, and he couldn't turn anywhere else. So it's not unheard of. Ciara, meanwhile, going into the bus stop chicane behind Velocity as Velocity goes wide at the first point, so Ciara's got the better run. We'll expect to see these guys going for the first of their stops in the next 2 to 3 laps on the option tyres. So it'll be interesting to see how much time they've lost getting stuck in these battles. Into La Source, oh, Ciara nearly spins it, drifts the car through, but hangs on, and he's going to have a great run now behind Velocity as we're heading toward Rouge. Go through the fast chicane, all keeping the power planted. Velocity is going to be a sitting duck here because there's no DRS available to him. There goes the flat for Ciara, and he's pulled out the slipstream straight away. He's not waited, and he's got to make sure he gets the car stopped. Can Velocity steal one up the inside of Lake Combe? No, he can't. Down in 6th place, Fifth Alonso has really struggled after that initial bit of running, has now got Sean Bean catching up to him. So Sean Bean, despite the mistake at Stabilo, has not let it get too far ahead of him. Meanwhile, got a message on the screen from WF1 Raikkonen asking how many stops. Well, it's the high. If you use the prime tyres only, you might get away with 2 stops, but I imagine drivers will go for 3. Bernie, you're a driver, you're the one that faces 100% distances here. How many strategies would you go for?
I've done 4 laps of qualifying practice this week round here. I'm not the right person to ask. Seriously, probably a 2, I think. I think a 2 stop with 2 prime, I think.
Well, Sean Bean, meanwhile, has got a run on the back of Fifth Alonso as we head off Curve of Porphyry, heading towards Blanchimont, and you can see the better grip in those prime tyres. Fifth Alonso's getting to the end of his cycle life, goes off at Blanchimont, and that gives a chance to Sean Bean, 22, into the bus stop chicane. And I think Fifth Alonso might pit here. He's gone right to the right-hand side. Indeed he does. He's the first to blink, so he's going to go for the undercut on the guys ahead of him. We've already got XRL Stewart, who's now stuck on this for another 2 minutes. Velocity in P4 and Ciara. Has Fifth Alonso stolen marks on these guys? Andy Coy, meanwhile, is saying, you see, this is why I am gutted not to be racing this week. Ouch, real shame, because we've got a classic so far. As we get down off Radion, down on the DRS towards Lake Coombe, and this is where Velocity's got the overrun now. And Seyaru, it's impossible to defend. The DRS is so powerful, you just can't get near it.
It's just so much. Oh, he goes a little bit deep. Oh, runs wide.
Oh, and the Seyaru drives on the outside of Lake Coombe, and then goes all 4 tyres off. And Velocity now has a chance to take it into Bruce Sell. He's got the inside line. Can he get the car stopped? It's a bit slippery out there with these worn tyres, but Velocity gets away with it into 3rd place. That DRS so reminds me a lot of the Turkish Grand Prix in 2011, where there was 80 overtakes. That's why it was powerful. Seyaru trying to keep close to the back of Velocity. These guys have really been giving us a scrap this week. It's only been 10 laps. We're only a quarter race distance, and these guys have left it all on the line. They've been driving beautifully and fast all the way through. So Seyaru in the slipstream for Velocity uses his curves off curve upon for Ray, and I think he's fancying having a go around the outside of Blanchimont. This will be insanely brave if he can make this stick. Can he keep it on the track? Oh, 4 tyres off. He's going to have to give it. It was millimetres, but ultimately he's had to yield the position.
Fair play. I think he might have learned from last week, but he's now in.
And he's gone into the pits. He's been followed by Stewart. Velocity has stayed out. Has Velocity compromised himself? In P4 now, Sean Bean on the prime tyres into last source, being followed by Enema Mr. Indigo, who's in the Red Bull. Been a quiet race for Enema Mr. Indigo, has to be said. Now, meanwhile, all eyes will be on the end of the pits here, because Seyaru is just coming into the inside of La Source. He's being followed by Stewart, and Fifth Alonso just comes out behind them.
Cool, that is close. Alonso, presumably, yeah, he's pit as well, so
he tried for the
close.
Undercut and just missed it.
Another lap, not even that, he would have been maybe even ahead of Seyaru.
Meantime, on the stream, received the message, 2-stop primes the better tyre, according to our Jigsaw's. As meanwhile, up ahead, we've got Fifth Alonso trying on the outside of Lake Coombe, but he goes too wide, and they're all on the inside, so Stewart takes that position back.
I don't know if that's a bit of lag or not, but it looked as if Alonso was weaving all over the place to try and get the move down the straight. I don't know. It just didn't look quite right.
But we have already lost our host, don't forget, so it wouldn't surprise. Oh, Alonso goes so wide, he smashes into the wall and loses an end plate. Well, he's not going to be happy about that amateur's mistake there as we go through Perron, and he now attacks the back of Stewart in the Williams. Despite that collision, he's not lost a lot of time, but look at the understeer going through Campus. It's definitely going to affect the handling of that car. Meanwhile, up ahead, I believe that's actually Sean Bean and also Enema Mr. Indigo who are in a scrap. Indeed they are, as we head into Blanchimont. And, Sean Bean goes wide, goes off the circuit. So Mr. Indigo to the outside line for the bus stop chicane. Gets onto the outside, gets on the marbles. This is going to be risky. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. But Sean Bean tries to drive on the shorter line, try and get past him. As up ahead, I believe that's Velocity who's gone into the pits. Sean Bean 22 with DRS to take the position back. You genius.
Indigo gave the position back. He slowed right down.
So Indigo's going for the DRS here. Down after all routes, we've seen how powerful it is as we head down towards the Lake Coombe complex. Let's ride on board Enema Mr. Indigo in the Red Bull. Sparks flying on the bottom of that Mercedes. Sean Bean 22 trying to attack as much as he can. This should be absolutely easy, I agree with you. DRS flap open as Sean Bean just waves him by because there's no way he's defending that one.
Indigo up into the podium now. These guys yet to have stopped though 12 laps into their race. So over quarter
exactly,
distance.
so they're going to have to run the option tyre at some point. Now it's a question of when you run it. As meanwhile, Velocity drives around the outside through Lake Coombe to overtake Stewart. I don't know how Velocity got brought behind these guys. Evidently the undercut worked, but he's now back into 6th place.
Why is Alexi this far down then? See, he must have...
He stayed out for 2 laps longer.
Ah, okay, right, that makes a bit more sense. I was expecting him to be even ahead of Seyaru, if I'm honest, but he's not. But
well, Velocity gets a run off Pouon, but he's now got a bit of a gap behind him to Stewart. around about a second there. And then we've also got fifth Alonso, who's been a bit of a loser here. He went for the undercut and it's just not worked. Oh, question from WF1 Raikkonen for you, XRL Bernie. Who in 2005 tried to get the Red Bull drive but didn't get it?
Is it someone good? I don't know.
Oh, many people competed for it. Bus stop chicane, meanwhile, fifth Alonso looking at the back of Stewart. DRS will be available too, and down to last source, but Stewart should have the same advantage. Chasing down velocity, so there'll be no real gain here. It's all about how you get your car planted through Eau Rouge and whether you get the better drive off the corner on La Source. Fifth Alonso, he's got slightly better traction than the Williams, so that might give him a potential opportunity. Indeed, look at how much sparks were at the bottom of that Williams, and Fifth Alonso's got a great chance now. He's deployed all his cars going up the hill. DRS now flap open, and he's waiting. Oh, my off Stewart's not got the advantage. So Fifth Alonso should get past here, gets on the brakes, goes to the inside of Lake Combe, and that is job done. Meanwhile, don't forget, viewers, you can get your messages in via Xbox Live, Swishbone, or XR Burley, or you can put them in the chat box on Channel 1 and Channel 2. I assume Dan's got his sharp eye on that for any comments.
I have. They asked about rain, but I said there was a 0% chance, and Fozzie has agreed. Fozzie's actually signed in for the evening after his disconnect. Give us some idea on that one, Fozzie.
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear from you, Fozzie, as to what happened there. There's an Emma Mr. Indigo runs provisional P3. XRO Roberts goes through towards Blanchimont. TRO Button, meanwhile, has already got a huge gap because XRO Roberts is only just getting up to the bus stop chicane when TRO Button's reaching last source. That's a gap of at least 8 seconds. Yeah, it's more like 10 seconds. So TRO Button's really got this race by the scruff of the neck now. Definitely his race to lose. Sakit Taco runs the last of the runners in 11th. Reese 26 in 10th for Lotus. Being solid on his return, not spectacular. XRL meanwhile in P9. Bit of a fall from last season. As Stewart and Fifth Alonso side by side with DRS towards La Source. Stewart's going to try and attack, but Alonso brushes his rear tyre. Both drivers go off the circuit, and Stewart gets marbles on the car, so I don't think he's going to have the better traction, but he stayed close to Alonso as they head into the Eau Rouge corner. And indeed, he's going to go up the inside, try and get some nice slipstream with the DRS here as they head down towards Lake Combe. Flat wide open, the Williams now attacking the back of the Toro Rosso. This is like watching a touring car race here as these two drivers attack each other into Lake Combe. Well, Fifth Alonso's got the sharper line. Stewart tries to cut back twice around the outside of Lake Combe. But Fifth Alonso hangs on for now. He keeps the position.
Well, Just Key's just gone into the chat box and Channel 1. He is not happy with Stewart. He stopped racing because of an incident going through Blanchimont on the exit, and he is not happy at all. Them two do have a bit of a running history of incidents, but something that we look at after racing, you know.
Meanwhile, Fifth Alonso's gone off at Pillon.
Yes.
So Stewart, he almost got sideswiped by Alonso. Alonso joined the track almost like Kimi Raikkonen did earlier today, but he gets away with it. Stewart saw him coming and takes that position. Great driving for Stewart there. As XRL GS is now being chased by Reese 26 in the Lotus. Reese 26 is a former double world champion. He's been out of XR Racing League for quite some time. This is his first season back and he deploys a lot of cars off curve apart for Ray. And XRL GS just lets him through. Doesn't even bother fighting him.
No fight at all, and he's on the prime tyres for Reese as well, so that's a bit of a surprise. I would have expected.
Well, LGS now into the bus stop chicane. Is he just going to try and psych him out with DRS, maybe?
Yeah, could be. But this DRS zone's not powerful enough, especially with that
now,
gap, but the second
this is
DRS
interesting.
zone is
If LGS hasn't stopped yet, he's on lap 15. If he can make those tyres go maybe 3 laps longer, could he be trying to one stop? Just makes me wonder if it's possible, because the tyres differences will be a few watts apart, no doubt about it. LGS gets into the slipstream, DRS flap open on East 26. I think he's realised he can't defend the position through sector 3, so he's just going to take it back through sector 1. And that's exactly what he's done, going into Lake Combe.
Bit baffling from Reese, he still has half of our curves, and LGS only just got past, so I feel like if he used his curves, he could have defended.
Maybe you could have, but at the same time, maybe Reese 26 has got the same idea on, and these drivers are just going to try and yo-yo around each other. Velocity, meanwhile, down in P6 now, and then in 5th place, Seyaru being impressive in only his 2nd race, let's not forget, for XRL. Came in an impressive podium position last week, and now he's running in P3 for now, and we've seen a spate of incidents so far, so who knows if he won't score a podium again. Sean B22, not yet stopped. He's on the prime tyres in P4. Ahead of him, meanwhile, in P3, we've got Eneman Mr. Indigo, who's really brought the pace in the Red Bull. Done a great job on the prime tyres. 2nd place, we have XRL Roberts. He's staying out on lap 15. But up ahead, meanwhile, TRL Button's already in. He's in at the end of lap 15.
Is this for his first stop or second?
His first.
I don't know how far the primes go, because he was on prime.
Even so, that seems surprising, especially if XRL Roberts. But look at that. How depressing is that? XRL Roberts is only about 2 seconds ahead of him. Meanwhile, a couple of messages came through Xbox Live. I'm going to try and look at them, but I get the feeling I might have a battle between Seyaru and Velocity, so I'm going to ride on board here.
I love Jigsaw says, do we think that Lewis Hamilton's Wednesday brings the title into his favour again?
I don't think it does. I get the feeling, it'll give him a buoyance, no doubt, because he's won his home Grand Prix, but the big problem there is that Rosberg's been really consistent, and where are we going next? Hockenheim. So we're going from one Mercedes driver's home Grand Prix to another. So you're going to get the same kind of buoyancy effect. And if Rosberg wins there, with his more consistent approach, he's probably my bet. It's kind of like if you had Niki Lauda and James Hunt in the same team. Niki Lauda with his long approach of trying to go long, maximising the risk, kind of like Rosberg does, and then the swagger and the all-out attack from James Hunt. It's kind of like that, only with far less of the friendship. I think over the course, my money's on Rosberg, but Hamilton's won a title before. Rosberg hasn't. So it's a question of whether Rosberg's going to choke, with this being his first real opportunity. Apparently, the answer to the question for Red Bull 2005 was Mark Webber. He had to drive for another season with Jaguar, apparently.
See, now, look, I'm a Red Bull fan, so, honestly, I like Ferrari more.
Well, here's an interesting one. Question from Motorsport Nerd saying, BBC got this wrong. When was the last time a race had a red flag on the first lap? Well, I guess a lot of people would think it'd be Spa 98, but I don't think it was.
There was one more recent. It was like,
red flag on the first lap. Meanwhile, DRS not working for Velocity, but he gets on the inside line, and he's got a great opportunity into Lake Combe. And despite not having DRS, Velocity gets past. That shows you how powerful the Camel Straight is, that he could get past without DRS.
I'm just trying to think what this one was the last time they red flagged on the first lap. I thought it was like Malaysia 03 or something, or 01 or something like that. George,
it's an intriguing one.
It is there, but I don't know.
It's an interesting one, because red flags are rare, as we all know. It's unusual for a racer with a red flag on the first race. I mean, even Spa in 2012 with the pile-up at La Source was not red flagged on the first lap, so it's a tricky one to say, really. Yeah, but I know for a fact it's not Spa 1998, despite it being the obvious choice.
Yeah, that's one that always sticks in the memory.
Seyaru, meanwhile, is attacking the back of one of the other cars ahead of him. He's running in P3 now. That's Velocity indeed in the Lotus, going through Blood Shimon. Seyaru gets a much better drive there, and he's going to get into the bus stop chicane, and, well, that was all too easy. I get the feeling Velocity wants the DRS down the Camel Straight. But he's not got DRS, he didn't have it on the last lap either, so his DRS obviously isn't working, and he wants to just follow the McLaren driver as much as he can.
Bring back Jay Comfrey, says Mr. Steve, yeah.
According to WF1 Raikkonen, he thinks it was Malaysia in the year 2000. I don't think I watched that Grand Prix, I don't remember it. DRS from over velocity as he goes down the camel straight towards Lake Home. Gets on the brakes, is he going to make the car stop? Oh, it's going to be tight this, but he just about hangs on. You know, Steve-O's saying, let's have a trivia question. Well, we just had one. It's like that. So I'll tell you, here's a trivia question for you. When was the last, what track was the last time a driver lost both their front wheels in a crash? So, driver ends up losing both his front wheels as a result of an accident involving his car. What track was it? Bonus point for the driver.
What was the question again, sorry?
When was the last... Well, according to Jigsaw, he thinks it was Monaco 2000, as, once again, Seyaru gets past before Blanchimont. Evidently, Velocity is not wanting to get... He's definitely wanting to get away from this.
Is he using curves?
I think what he's doing is he's just manipulating Seyaru on the DRS, making sure he has the DRS, so he can pass again.
China 2010, apparently, according to Conor.
And Conor Rice is indeed correct. It's when Sebastian Buemi's car lost both its tyres. Literally a suspension failure. It was really hair-raising. Heading up through all roads, Velocity trying to chase after the Seyaru's McLaren. As we head onto the Camel Straight, DRS will come available. There goes the flap, gets in the slipstream down the Camel Straight. Well, it's going to be a replay of the last lap, I suspect, though. Seyaru's fought back a bit more here into Lake Curve, and Velocity like he was a bit wide there. Seyaru fancies a bit of a chance to get away from this, but gets away with it. Meanwhile, Andy Coy is actually thinks it was Kimi Raikkonen in Germany. When was that?
Sorry, I'm doing corner cutting checks now, by the way, so if you want to go watch channel 2...
That's fine, that's not a problem. XRL Bubba, meanwhile, was chasing after Stewart. He's in 5th place. Then down his 6th, we've got Enemal Mr. Indigo. So we've got a bit of a free car scrap going on all of a sudden here. These guys really attacking as XRL Bubba is on the option tyres. So he's getting these out of the way now. And he gets on the inside of Stewart at the end to the campus chicane. Is he going to be able to attack? Yes, he is. Stewart gets too much turning, and that's an easy move for XRL Bubba. But he goes off to the outside of campus. That compromises his line as a stab below, but he gets away with it. Meanwhile, Enemal Mr. Indigo in the Red Bull, now attacking the back of that Williams. He's going to be really getting closer here. Well, those tyres will start to fall away from the Red Bull. Well, just keep saying Kimi this weekend at Silverstone. Well, technically that counts, I suppose, but actually the one I was looking for was Buemi in 2010, because that's when the tyres literally came off the car. Obviously, Raikkonen, due to the 47G shunt, I've actually not seen the crash live. I didn't actually watch the race, so I didn't see the damage.
How come you didn't watch it?
I was working.
Oh, right.
Come on, I know the result.
Well, to be fair, the race was stopped for an hour.
I've heard the race was stopped for an hour, and it was a bit of a nail-biter towards the end. I know that apparently Vettel and Alonso had a pretty big scrap at one point, so I'll be keeping an eye on the replays for that. But Stewart now has got the DRS open on the back of XRL Bullet, but he's already hit the limiter halfway down the Camel Straight, and as a result, he's not able to get close enough. He's got the Red Bull approach. He's got the lower top speed, better cornering grip, and he's topping out too early.
That's the thing with Spa, although there's 2 sectors with quite long straights, you know, that mid-sector, that second sector is all about aero, and that's where he's going to be quicker.
According to Motorsport Nerd, the answer was actually 2001 to when the race was red flagged. Apparently, it was something to do with Schumacher's car misfiring and not starting, so Luciano Berti went into the back of him.
What year was this? What race?
2001
At
at Germany, which would have been Hockenheim, I believe, or
See,
was it?
I have a feeling Sky Sports F1 got this one right and BBC got it wrong. They like to do that. BBC are quite good at getting the stats wrong. That's now actually going to be in the middle of a battle now, so I'm doing my corner cutting checks on a battle. That is happy.
Anyway, Mr. Indigo trying to attack the back of the Williams and Stewart, who's made a big mistake,
God,
locked up and gone wide at bus stop, and he's got away with that. So Anima Mr. Indigo goes up to 5th place as he starts to try and chase down XRL Roberts in the Ferrari. Meanwhile, up ahead, that scrap between Velocity and Ciaru is carrying on. These guys are all staying close to each other despite what's happened. And we've lost connection to Stewart. Stewart's gone. So we're down to 10 runners and riders now. Unbelievable. We seem to be reaching that point where reliability's kicking in. We're almost at the halfway point. These guys so far have put on a classic. Make sure you're here for the second hour. As Anima Mr. Indigo is trying to attack the back of XRL Bobbers in a Ferrari, who's gone wide into the start of Bruxelles. So that allows Anima Mr. Indigo a chance to attack. But Anima Mr. Indigo just not quite getting... Oh, what was that from Bobbers? He went so far wide, he almost went into the forest. Right, Anima Mr. Indigo going through campus, getting a better run from the XRL Bobbers in the Ferrari. And heading through Stavolo down to Curb Paul Ferrari. And XRL Bobbers is definitely struggling a little more than Indigo here. Indigo possibly stayed out a little bit longer in his first stint, and that's got his tyres in a better condition as we head towards Stavolo, as we head towards Blanchimont, and you can see that Indigo's definitely closing the gap, but in this high-speed sector, Bobbers is hanging on.
He's really closing in now.
Into the bus stop chicane. Oh, he hits the inside curve there, Bobbers. Gets a bit too much loss of traction. And then Mr. Indigo's going to have a fight off the corner. He's got the DRS to get closer to the source. But I get the feeling he's not going to make a move here because he wants the DRS down the Camel Straight. So there's a great opportunity now for Indigo. Hits the inside apex and gets a little tail slip on the outside. Goes really close to the edge of the Old Rouge corner. Here we go. No sign of a lift there from Indigo, and look how much closer he's got. Curls at the top of Radion, and he's got the DRS going down the Camel Straight. But XRL Bobbers hangs on. He's probably far back with his curves, going into Lake Combe, and look at that great defensive driving from the Ferrari driver. Bobbers showing his hand there beautifully.
Probably the first person we've seen stage actually defended their position from a DRS and Kerr's attack from a driver behind.
Well, you get the feeling that a lot of the drivers reflect the real-life sport where the tyres don't last, there's no point fighting. I mean, it's like, this is one of the criticisms that Pirelli have come into. For those of you who don't know, when I went to Le Mans, I actually got the magazine, and they interviewed Mark Webber, where he talked about the tyres and was very unflattering towards Pirelli, it has to be said.
It doesn't surprise me, if I'm honest. It doesn't surprise me that he's speaking out his mind. I think he doesn't... You know, he's not really part of the F1 group now. He can, yeah. I don't think Pirelli have done a good job. Oh. Anyway, we're on board with Reese 26. I don't know who Pete will be on with. Stevo signing on. This is proper quick. Parson, Rosberg and Littles. Well, we try. I know. Fearless is rather angry at the moment, so we've got to try and calm him down, otherwise he'll be becoming like a Hulk or something. So hopefully we can calm him down after the race, after that incident with Stewart. But race 26 now, I am starting my track extending checks right now, so I'm afraid if you want to watch a driver go around one lap here and you get really bored, I'm sorry, but that's why channel 2 is there. So let's see what Reese can do on his lap, and he's part of our list of drivers. And you're back.
Yeah, so you can see that Anima Mr. Indigo's keeping close. He's got the DRS at the top of Radion, and look at that, he almost went into the back of XRL Bobbers. Despite having the DRS, he's just not attacked and had to let that one go. Absolutely crazy. Meanwhile, for those of you who are actually interested in what Mark Webber had to say, he was asked literally, in endurance races you need to conserve your tyres for several stints, is that a problem? And his answer was, it's just part of the game. If someone tells you to keep your tyres at 1 till 4, it's just down to you to deal with it. Compared to the products we had in F1 that were mediocre, the tyres here are really good.
The thing is, F1 it's such a high-tech sport where, you know, the smallest of fractions count, and overtaking doesn't happen all that often. I can understand why they've gone to Pirelli to try and introduce tyres which are going to, like, bring us action, but I don't know, I just think, like, the possible, like, refuelling, I'd love to have refuelling that would add a little bit more intrigue into the action, more strategy, things like that. I mean, taking away all the things that, you know, have made the old racing what it has been. Stuart,
well,
disconnect.
He said he asked for an invite, so that's why I brought him in here.
Disconnect, Stuart, just
Yeah, it's probably because Fearless left, a lot of people were dropping out. I think Fozzie dropped out.
Fozzie dropped out, Lewis Hamilton just quit because he was right at the back of Armagh. A couple of disconnects tonight, but an incident between you and Fearless Avalanche on I think it was lap 4. See anything? What was your opinion of that?
He tried to go up the inside of a one-line corner, so I tried to give him space, and then I gave him space, and his front wing alongside at the rear of my car is spinning my car, and I spin off to the left, and I think I probably hit him into the wall when I was spinning. I had no control of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not too happy. He's not happy.
Well, the driver will definitely not be happy if he's caught up in any incident that takes them out of the race. We did have coverage of that on the stream, so no doubt it will be looked at further.
He probably thinks I've turned to the left into him and binned him into the wall, but it was just me spinning. I couldn't do anything. In my opinion, he shouldn't have went for overtake in a one-line corner anyway, but well,
Race is 26, he's done a good job. He's currently in 6th place, so I'm just on board doing his track extending checks.
Meantime, Ciaro now has actually fallen slightly behind Velocity, currently in P3 or on for another podium, which will be one of the greatest starts to an F1 career. Interestingly, questions coming from Isle of Jigsaw says, who holds the record for fastest penalty awarded in a career? I believe that's probably one of the guys who drove for Pacific back in the 1990s. Someone like Jean-Denis Delatraz, because I know that despite him being slow on circuit, he was always speeding in the pit lane. So I think he kept getting speeding penalties in the first practices before he started races. I'm pretty sure it's someone obscure like that.
It's just like such random, like, facts that you don't need to know.
It's not you don't need to know, it's just that they're interested. Now,
yeah.
Ciara's got a great run off All Rouge and Radion, and he's going to have an opportunity. He's not used any curves, but he's not bothered. He's got the DRS. He already goes past Velocity, who kind of just gave the up, I think. It was like he really thought, I've got no chance here, so I'm going to hang on and protect the tyres. I mean, Stuart, you're still in here. What's tyre wear that bad on the circuit where you couldn't fight anybody?
No, tyre wear is absolutely great. At the track, I mean, you can do 20 plus laps in the primes. It's an easy 2-stop, so tyre wear wasn't a problem.
Well, it's interesting because an insider, the WF1 Raikkonen, was been telling me on the stream here, he sent a message in, he believes that CRL Button was going to do a prime start and then go for 3 option stints. Well, he's got the pace in hand by the looks of it, but it'll be interesting to see if that race comes back to bite him later on, as the McLarens are now for a 1-2, because Ciara's in 2nd place, but Velocity, going into Stavelot, is very close behind him in the Lotus.
I'm pretty sure Button will be doing 2 options. And that's the same with Bobbers. Anyway.
Velocity trying to attack away through Blanchimont. He's got a decent run on the inside there as Ciara has a bit too wide, kicks up the dust into the bus stop chicane. Gets a tighter line, does Ciara, as Velocity gets a bit of tail slip. Nearly spins the car. And these two have got to be careful, because right behind them, only a few seconds of drift, is Enimar Mr. Indigo in 4th place, who's got XRL Bobbers, he's got DRS, as we head down towards La Source. Is Bobbers going to fancy a move here? No, he backs out of it, realising it's going to be exposed going down towards Lake Coombe. It makes me wonder why that DRS zone is there. It's pointless. No one ever uses it. Why not have a DRS zone down towards Blanchimont instead? As XRL Bullets uses curves off Radion and DRS to pass. Case surprise. Velocity we are still not able to get past Sayaro, the McLaren driver, only his second week here in XRL, doing a great job, really impressing a lot of people with his pace and his performance, carrying on with velocity behind him. He's nowhere near Sayaro Button, but then again, who is?
Exactly. But, you know, he's bang on the pace, and it's quite surprising there's such a big gap tonight between so many of them. I thought it'd be a little bit closer. But you see the sort of second to fifth quite close on there. Everyone else is pretty spread out. What's up?
Well, unbelievably, the answer, according to our jigsaws, I've not got my stats book, so I can't check this, but apparently the answer is Sebastian Vettel, who got a speeding in the pit lane fine 6 seconds after leaving the garage. I'm guessing that's when he drove a BMW Sauber at Indianapolis in 2007 or 2008. Probably 2007, actually, yeah, 2007. And then Mr. Indigo gets a good ride out of Blanchimont in towards the bus stop chicane, gets on the inside, and that's job done for Indigo. He goes past Bullets once again. So I know that Jean-Denis Delatros did something very similar, but I don't believe it was 6 seconds. XRL Bullets using DRS, goes wide on the source, and that's going to allow Indigo to cut back underneath him. Bullets now with marbles all over the tyres. Really not going to be finding this easy as they head into All Rouge, one of the fastest corners on the calendar. Gets up there, but all at the same time, mistake from Mr. Indigo. He goes too deep into the corner. DRS for Bullets, goes down the camel straight. No curves left. And that looks like it's going to be job done. But then again, Indigo might try and fight back on the break into Lake Coombe as Bobbers makes a mistake, misses the chicane, and then Mr. Indigo goes, thank you very much, and takes that back. Up ahead, Sayara, meanwhile, has been passed by Velocity and the Lotus.
Them guys are so close on pace, it's unreal. You look at, there's 4 cars there, probably split by what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds? We're going through Puan right now.
Indeed, they're all very close together. And another question for George is, at what Grand Prix did Takuma Sato lead his only laps? I think that was Indianapolis 2005 when he got a podium, but don't quote me on that.
What's he doing?
Not 2005, 2006
even. I swear he was in Le Mans.
Takuma Sato? No, he was an F1 until 2008.
No,
teammates of Anthony Davidson at Subaru Aguri. No, he wasn't. He wasn't in Le Mans. No.
Oh, who was it then? I swear he was with Anthony Davidson in the Toyota.
Kazuki Nakajima. No. He was in the other car.
That's the one.
Kazuki Nakajima, the only person to drive for Toyota in F1 and Le Mans. DRS level from XRL Bobbers as we go into last source hairpin. And then Mr. Indigo trying to hang on as XRL Bobbers desperately trying to close up to the back of that Red Bull and take some crucial points on the podium. Meanwhile, behind them, I believe Sayara's gone into the pit, so that might be Velocity even, who's gone into the pits for another pit stop. Indeed, it was Sayara and the McLaren. As Bobbers pulls out the slipstream with DRS into Lake Coombe. Has he made the chicane this time? Yes, he has. He takes the position.
Can't believe Alonso's down in 10th. He was having a really good race. Motorsport nerd, what would you like today? Sato in IndyCar for the last 5 years. Okay, George. Let's not have an argument, right?
Well, it's not much of an argument. He's won. Into the campus chicane. Mr. Indigo catching up to XRL Bobbers. Bombert's getting a little wide there, really pushing close to the AstroTurf as I head to Stabble Lows. He's getting a bit shaky as Animal Mr. Indigo and Bombert's on opposite tyres, not to forget, have really been scrappering hammer and tongs here. Really been attacking each other as much as possible. Out of Curve and Pont-Ferret, down towards Blanchemont. Animal Mr. Indigo getting deep into the slipstream here. Bombert's really under pressure, goes a little wide. Animal Mr. Indigo fancies go around the outside, thinks Spider Rabbit, but is he going to try and have a sneak look at the inside of the bus stop chicane? Indigo will once again think better of it and hangs on for now. As Velocity dives into the pits. So Velocity's got out of the way of these guys. The question is, where will Seyaru come into all of this?
He's going to get a very decent undercut if he's pit now.
Well, not really, because Seyaru went in a lot before him.
Oh, did he?
And I think that Seyaru's just gone through. Yes, it is. So Seyaru's gone through. And behind him, meanwhile, let's see how close this is. Oh, there's a bit of an undercut. It's getting maybe about a second there. It's not as powerful as you'd think it would be. As I have Mr. Indigo with DRS open on the side of Bexar Bolas. They're side by side down the Camel Straight into Lake Hulme. Can Mr. Indigo stop the car? Can he get ahead to second place? He can. Oh, never mind. What was that from Bobbers? He missed the inside and then goes over the outside. And according to George, actually, it was the European Grand Prix 2004 that Sato led his only laps for. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he was leading at one point in IndyCar, not in IndyCar itself, but the Indianapolis circuit. Maybe I've got him mixed up with his teammate, possibly.
I just thought the Ferraris were in control of that race.
That was 2005.
No.
2006 they did win, but obviously on pit stop strategy, I don't think they led all the laps. I don't think. Again, no, it's been a long time since I've seen that race, so I can't really say.
Yeah, last time I watched that was probably about 7 years ago.
I probably watched it as one of the classic F1 races before Austin when that came back. I tell you what, here's a question for everyone. As TRO Button goes in for another pit stop and he's on the prime tyres. So he's going to the end now, no doubt about it. And now Mr. Indigo, meanwhile, in second place, he stays out. Now the question is, yes, I will say does Bobbers stay out? He does as well. So Bobbers now is really going to be aiming to get another options run by the looks of it. Indigo, no doubt, will join him in that. So definitely an opportunity for these guys to scrap for the bottom end of the podium. But Seyaru is on prime tyres here, and they're going to easily last to the end. So he might snooker these guys and get ahead of them. So XRL Bobbers has drifted a little further behind the Red Bull of NMR Mr. Indigo now as they head through Lake Hulme and we're into the final third of the race. So these guys have really been attacking here, all been doing a lot of driving, very, very impressive stuff, it has to be said.
Yeah, they've been going at such a constantly good pace. They're driving pretty clean as well.
There's been a few guys all going off at the corner after Bruce Fell, really getting that wide. But oh, Sean Bean's retired from the race. Well, bye-bye points.
You were even last. 14 laps left.
Bye-bye points then. And oh, and there goes the host again. I don't think he knew he was the host, but that's not the point.
He had no knowledge that he was going to be the host, but...
Well, we might see a lot of cars jumping round now, which is not what we want to see. Psychic Taro, I'm riding on board with him and it looks inconsistent to say the least.
Yeah, but he is American, so he's not the best person to base it on.
Meanwhile, Just Keith says not everyone, because some people just don't get a chance to race. I'm not sure what that's about to. Hey Sean, what was the retirement about?
I'm not quite sure what's going on, but my HDMI cable keeps on disconnecting from my Xbox. It's sort of the connectors aren't fully synced up together, so my screen keeps on going black randomly, and I don't know when it's going to do it. And it's getting to the point where if I just carry on going, I'm going to end up being a hazard to everyone else because I won't know if I'm gaining on someone or if someone's trying to overtake me. So
right.
It's happened about 5 times in the past 3 laps.
So you've been literally getting like a blank screen and then carrying on. Right, that's understood. We were confused because you were running like not even last, you were running solid position and pace looked pretty strong. So bit of a surprise you retired. Obviously, very, very bad luck for that kind of thing to force you out, especially at a circuit like this. But moving on to Monza, low downforce, high speed. Do you reckon you got a chance there?
I like Monza, and I think I've got a good chance. I'm just gutted because I was surprised by my race pace here. I thought, okay, I might be able to challenge for maybe a top 5 finish, and it was looking like that was the case. And then they're just a black screen. I go straight into a wall, lose my wing, and I would turn up being 30 seconds behind. And then it just keeps on happening. It's not worth racing.
No, I mean, you've done the right thing. If you had the chance of being a hazard to other drivers, getting yourself out of there and not causing an issue is what you should do. So, good driving there from yourself to keep yourself out of the way. Big commiserations, though, because I say you looked on for some solid points, but obviously better luck next time out in Monza.
Cheers. I'll leave you to it.
Thank you, Sean. Well, in the meantime, on the stream, Just Keys saying that he was saying that, you know, it's not everyone because some people don't get a chance to race. That's what that was about. He said it was in my comments of the good driving out there today. Well, again, I mean, I've not really seen anything immediately that springs to mind as too horrible. Again, there are incidents to review, a few overtakes which happened with all 4 tyres off. But other than that, it's not like we've seen any really, like, erratic driving. For instance, earlier on today, I was playing on Grid Autosport, and I got past someone, clean driving, and for the next 8 corners, all he tried to do was push me off because I'd taken the lead from him. I've not seen anything like that, so I'm sorry, I think the driving's been fine.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I know what he means. He's arguing your point because he was the one who was on the back end of an incident. I mean, I'll really explain to him in a text message. Yeah, he had an incident. Yes, he lost an end plate. And yes, he went down to like 7th place, I believe. The race is young. You know, he could have hoped to have stuck on in his first stint that one damaged end plate and kept going. Oh. And then once he got the full wing and maybe got an undercut or something and got some clean track, he could have really made some inroads. It's a four-lap race,
meantime,
not a 4-lap race. You just got to remember that.
Yes, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. But meanwhile, Just keep saying, Stuart, yeah, thought so. All I'm going to say there, Keith, is wait for the steward's report. I'm not going to say anything more to that because at the end of the day, we don't want to prejudice any reviews that are made. So just got to keep an eye on that. But velocity now has actually dropped away from Seyaru, strangely. Seyaru, having come out ahead of him on the undercut, has got a gap about 2 seconds on his lead curve of Paul Ferret. And Seyaru now running P3. So he's on for a potential dream start to his XRL career with back-to-back podiums. As Indigo finally dives into the box, so that's going to promote into 2nd place. Meanwhile, going back to the stream, all the people out there who keep on talking about trivia, if you got any questions you want to ask, please feel free to get them involved. There's been some odd ones, it has to be said. There's been some strange ones tonight. Question for most people, which team currently holds the record for the fastest pit stop?
I have a feeling Red Bull did one of the quickest ones this year. I think that might be the quickest.
You're correct with the team, but you're incorrect with the year. They set one last year, did a 1.9 second stop, would you believe?
What? That is crazy. I know Ferrari are pretty consistent on their pit stops. They were quick at the start of last season, but they sort of stayed on that pace and the other teams sort of caught up. But it's surprising with F1 how it is these days, that sort of thing, you know, half a second on the pit stop.
Keeg, I just wanted to clarify something. You say you're not racing anymore, so not fussed about the steward's report. Are you talking purely about this race?
No, he's not. He feels that there should be a rerun because of that incident. I mean, if we were to do that, we'd still be on Australia.
Well, if you do a rerun because of things like that, I'm sorry, but my mic could be hung up because I'm not commentating that many races.
I understand. I mean, a lot of effort is put in every week to try and do as well as you can do. I understand that. I don't put in the level of effort that maybe I should do to compete. But it's just not bad. I mean, I'm going to have a look at that incident again because it's a bit suspicious. But you know, you've got to rely on that we make the right choices, and it is. I know this is one of your best tracks in the calendar, but we just got to try and go for it.
mean, at the end of the day, Fernando Alonso didn't ask for a restart in 2012 when Romain Grosjean took both him and Lewis Hamilton out of the race. In 2009, when Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton were taken out at the start of the race after Rubens Barrichello fucked up his start, that wasn't rerun either. You know, the fact is, there is no precedent for restarting the race because of incidents of that kind. The only one I can think of is pure Spa 1998, due to the sheer amount of damage and the amount of cars. And that wasn't a race rerun, it was a restart. As XRL Bobbers goes around the outside of NMR Mr. Indigo through Lake Coombe. Great move.
Yeah, I understand why he's like annoyed and everything like that, because I know him and Stuart have had a running in together before, and it is an ongoing thing. However, I mean, it's a 44-lap race and not a 4-lap race, and you can't just leave after an incident like that. You still had the wing, your car wasn't destroyed. Yes, you lost a couple of places and you would have struggled with aero grip, especially in the middle sector. But if you could have still been in that group, it's all about where you finish at the end of the race, not where you are after 4 laps. And you know, it is a championship. It's 19 races long. It's not about the here and now. It's about what happens at the end of the season. So,
well, let's take an example from real life. Canada, 2011. After the second safety car on the red flag, Jenson Button was down in 20th place. He won the race.
Exactly. You never
in
know
half
what
race
can
distance.
Well, obviously, it's a dry race pit, which makes it a little bit more, you know, predictable.
Okay, Abu Dhabi, 2012. Sebastian Vettel starts 24th, finishes 3rd.
Everyone let him do that.
Doesn't matter, he still did it.
Yeah, I know. You never know what can happen in a race, and you may be angry at the time. This does apply to someone like Lewis Hamilton, who left after 1 lap because of the incident that happened to him, which again, we're going to have to speak to him and the people around him to see what actually happened. But, I mean, you've got to keep continuing. It may look bad in a split moment, but you've just got to hang in there and, you know, see it.
DRS flap over from Velocity. He's now in touching distance of Ciara as they get back on the circuit for the real-life action. The final 9 laps are on into Lake Coombe, and Ciara is just too far ahead of him. That McLaren driver's done a great job, having become the new understudy to TRL Button. And if this carries on, this could remind us a lot in many ways of that season when we had originally the Red Bulls out in front of Tuppers, and then his new teammate coming in taking the glory, and they've 1-2s all season.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. They both beat me, okay? Him and the confusing.
Oh, just because you're a little sir.
Right, well, I'll let you speak over something to drink.
Right, I'm going to ask both Stuart and Key, please don't put the messages between yourselves in the open forum now. I don't want this getting too personal. It's a race. It's something you both put effort into, and sometimes you might have to agree to disagree, but there's no need for it to get personal on live broadcast. That doesn't make us look good. I mean, Velocity trying to catch up to Ciaro. These two are pretty much the closest on track in terms of the positions that are going to really decide how the things go in the championship. Of course, TRL Button's going to monster his way further ahead now, and that's going to make his title grip even tighter. But it's a question as to how much these guys can come in here, because if we get Ciaro performing consistently like this, he might suddenly find himself a contender towards the end of the season. Now, that'd be a remarkable effort for someone who's joined halfway through, but you've got to get the results, and so far he's doing that. Just looking ahead to TRL Button, you can see that he's gone through Puon, and behind him, only 10 seconds adrift is Ciaro, but you get the feeling that's because Button has gone for the extra stops here, which has definitely got him closer to his teammate. Now, Velocity in P3 done a very solid job. Anyway, Mr. Indigo's fought hard for Red Bull to come back from his position. He's in 4th. XRL Bobbers will be disappointed being in 5th. He'd have expected to gain a bit more ground than that. Reach 26 meanwhile has done a great job for Lotus. He's been behind the field and not really had much of a chance, but has done enough to hang on. Psychic Taco, meanwhile, his geriatric connection all the way from the States, hanging in there by a thread. He's running in P8. Then down in P9, we've got XRL's Yes, who's been slow and steady, but done a good job. And then finally, at the rear of the points, 5th, Alonso. What happened to him? Meanwhile, Sean Bean lightens the tension by going unbelievable. A technical issue that has nothing to do with Codemasters. OMG! You raise a fair point. It's the first time I've said that for some time. Right, well, in the meantime, keep this going. WF1 Mike in the States, been an amazing race one so far, all night. It'll be interesting to see how we get towards the end of the race. We've only got another 7 laps to go, and then we will be on the podium to hear the opinions of the drivers. Now, Velocity in P3 is chasing after Searu. He wants second place. He wants those 18 points, and he's not going to give them all without a fight here. And it's a question as to who can keep the tyres alive. It only takes the tyres hitting the cliff 1 or 2 laps from the end to see you falling down the order. We saw that in 2012 at China when Kimi Raikkonen was running P2 and ended up all the way outside the points due to his tyres falling off.
Yeah, Velocity seems to have dropped off a little bit out of these two, and there's much more open between 2 and 5th, 2nd and 5th. Someone who's really impressed me, and I keep saying it every week, telling him I'm Mr. Indigo. He's got a really solid chance in these last 7 laps to have a go at the 2 in front. He's on the option tyres, the others are on the prime. So, yeah, he's got a really outside chance of getting a podium. And Bobbitt's not that far behind either, so keep an eye on that one. But we've got
I was touching on this a moment ago, because I think both Velocity and Searu went into the pits quite a few laps earlier than these guys. Now that might mean that their tyres hit the cliff and fall off, so this race is far from over. Tiara Button, unlikely to be under threat, but 2nd and 3rd are there for the taking.
And 6th and 7th, Taco and Reese are having a battle for 8 championship points. Taco runs a little bit wide of Bonchimont.
And then gets bounced back on the truck again.
Yeah, Taco braking really late, locking up, but somehow making the corner. He looks like he's going to make a move as Reese goes wide. This could be a pretty easy move, even way before DRS. Used DRS going into turn 1. And the only disadvantage of this being is Reese is going to have it going up Eau Rouge. After Eau Rouge, he's going to get the DRS and should be able to power past through again.
Well, Velocity just had DRS on Searu and failed to get past. So the McLaren driver has held him up. Velocity, though, is really close to him now. But meanwhile, Indigo is now caught behind. He's only a few seconds adrift. On the screen, Sean Bean has come with an intriguing point. Apparently, Bobbitt and Indigo have been working as a team to catch this pair, trading slipstreams.
Wow.
Has someone been watching Talladega Nights? Because that's what happens in that film.
Anything to help catch up, I think, is Reese. Well, we're correct on that one. Reese has made the move back past Taco, and this has been Reese's first points finish since 4th place at the Australian Grand Prix. Good to see him back scoring points, or well, hopefully scoring points. We've got 6 more laps left yet, but a good performance from him. We'll see him up into, well, 6th place, very good for him if he can keep it. Let's go a bit further up there, and yeah, as you say, Bobbitt's and Indigo, they're a little bit spread apart considering they're meant to be trading slipstream. If Bob, maybe Indigo...
That might have been a few laps ago. But yeah. Velocity coming off the Buskov chicane is very close to Searu and the McLaren. DRS wide open as we head out to the source. He's definitely going to have a great chance going off Radion to have a real attack down the Camel Straight. So he's saving all his curves. He wants that McLaren driver's number and try and get past here. As we head into Eau Rouge, let's ride on board and listen. No lift whatsoever, and look at the speed difference going up. He's already side by side off Radion. There goes the DRS. He goes right past the McLaren driver. But can Searu fight back towards the end of the lap into Lake Coombe? And Searu's just a bit too far behind. But these drivers will now be trading positions, and it's all a matter of who's going to get their sums right and be ahead on the final lap. And Searu gets a bit too deep going into Bruxelles, managed to back out of it and avoid colliding with the back of the Lotus driver. Velocity getting away with that one, but now, as a result, Indigo is attacking.
Indigo is a little bit a little bit too far, but these two battling for P2 means that Indigo is slowly but surely getting closer and closer to these two. And it could well be a
going through
three-way scrap
campus,
on the last
Seyaru is
lap.
so much more planted. Look at how much better grip he had through campus. Into Stamolo and down for a curve upon for right, and Seyaru saved his curves. He's attacking the Lotus driver here, using it on the downhill section to get the maximum slingshot as we head towards Blochemont. But Velocity's got his car planted slap bang in the middle of the circuit. But Seyaru's going to go over the inside of Blochemont. Has he got the position? Stood there side by side as we head towards bus stop. This is going to be monumentally close into the chicane. Seyaru gets brushing the outside tyre, but takes second position.
Decent move, built it up right from Blanchimont, and a great move.
And he's got, Velocity's got DRS but not used it. Has he forgotten he has it, or has he simply got a late developing problem?
Seyaru had it on mine.
On my screen, the Seyaru flat was green for Velocity, but did not open. Heading through Eau Rouge. Yeah, Velocity's so much more confident for Eau Rouge.
You're right.
It's almost like he had to get out of the gas then because Seyaru lifted.
Indigo, watch out for Indigo. That gap's closed by about a good second, I would say, in the last
That's
lap.
why I'm thinking 2 more laps of this, and we're going to have a three-way scrap for the top part of the podium.
It always seems to work out. Last week at Hungary it worked out that 4 cars could have won the race. This week 3 cars were essentially second place, or it's second place.
Exactly, as Seyaru trying to get it planted through this second sector, where he seems to have better grip than the Lotus driver of Velocity. But keep your eye on Indigo, you're quite correct. That gap has really come down, because last lap, they were already at the second part of Pouon when he joined. Right now, he's left the second part when they have. That's a huge gain as we head into the campus chicane section. Seyaru getting a great run on the inside there, getting good traction into Stamolo. Gets the inside line, takes a much more consistent line. Oh, he was so lucky then. He went very close to the outside, hung it right on the outside of the ragged edge. As we head through Curve Palferai, down towards Blanchimont. Great opportunity for Seyaru, gets a good slipstream out of Blanchimont, goes on the outside of the bus stop chicane. We've seen him do this before in the previous lap. Is he going to try and cut back across? And the Velocity sees it, gives it too much space. And Seyaru, he's been contacted by Velocity. They're side by side, DRS for Seyaru, as we head down towards La Source, and Indigo is now in the battle. These 3 are right nailed to each other's gearboxes. Game on for the podium here, as we've got 3 laps left of the Belgian Grand Prix.
Who's going to be the unlucky one who doesn't get to speak to us after the race?
Well, it's all a matter of who's got the best drive here. Look at that! Anyway, Mr. Indigo watches as Velocity Seyaru pulling left to take that DRS, and as a result, Indigo slots around the outside of him. Seyaru now off the podium, but he's right behind Indigo and Velocity. We see these guys go hammer and tongs. Indigo goes too wide off Lacombe. Look at Seyaru, a chance on the outside of Bruxelles. He's going to try and stick the car a long way around the karting line, but he's had to let Indigo through. Coming off the corner with no name as we head towards Pouon, and then Seyaru attacking the back of Indigo. Velocity's got a little bit of a gap. Seyaru gets so close to the curb, gets away with it as we head towards campus, where he's traditionally had the better run on these cars. Yes, Seyaru's car seems more planted there, got more grip through the car. It seems bizarre that he has more grip there, but not through Eau Rouge. I don't understand that one. Going through Stamolo into Curve Palferai, and Seyaru's got all the curves being deployed off Curve, and he's going to go around the outside of Indigo. Indigo's trying to fight back, but into Blanchimont, Seyaru's going to have that position. So now Indigo is off the podium, and Seyaru's chasing after Velocity. As we get into the bus stop chicane, there's the detection line for the DRS. Going to the bus stop, Velocity goes wide, goes off the circuit. That's going to give him poor traction, and Seyaru attacks. DRS open as he head down to La Source. And then Mr. Indigo, meanwhile, in the Red Bull, also attacking Seyaru and the McLaren. All 3 drivers attacking the apex. Seyaru gets a better line than Velocity, but Indigo doesn't get the traction off the corner. This is going to be monumentally close for Eau Rouge. Velocity doesn't get away. Indigo down to the inside, and it's going to pass the pair of them. Absolutely sensational driving from Indigo.
That might have to go down as an overtake the week contender. He just saw that one from a mile away. He's got the best
That
chance
was
of the
incredible
lot.
driving from Indigo, as Ciaru, despite having DRS, could not get past Velocity.
Look at him in the gravel nearly there, but Indigo's got the best chance out of the lot of them now to stay in the podium. He's on the option tyres, he can now kick away.
Providing these guys don't try and go for a late suicide lunge and put him onto the wrong line, heading into Pillon. You can see the Velocity's getting back at him as Ciaru started to fall away. Has Ciaru cut his tyres, chasing after Velocity, because Velocity has not let anymore Mr. Indigo go. As we head through Campus, a bit of tail slide there for Velocity. As we head into the Stabilo corner, getting on the inside line, Velocity a bit more cautious, tiptoeing around the corner, and that's brought Ciaru potentially back into it. Off curve the Palfrey, curves well deployed by the McLaren driver, but he's going to be a bit too far behind to attack into the bus stop, you think. But the question is, who's got the better line as we go into Blanchimont? Velocity seems to have more pace than Mr. Indigo through there. Look at Indigo now, he's under real pressure as we head to the bus stop chicane. Talk about a classic way to end the Grand Prix. As Indigo now goes off on the bus stop chicane. Velocity's on the outside, he's going to have the DRS. And Ciaru's going to be following him into La Source. They're side by side. Indigo's got the title line. Velocity's going around the outside. And look at that for Ciaru. Dies on the inside. But Velocity's got the inside line for Eau Rouge. And Eau Rouge, I think Velocity's going to have the title line in here. And he's going to be attacking NMR Mr. Indigo off Rodion. He's saved his curves. There goes the electrical energy output into the DRS zone. As Ciaru attacks the side of Velocity, gets back into the slipstream. Velocity pulls out, and also the same time Ciaru goes on the outside. Indigo tries to defend. What driving from Indigo to hold that?
He is impressing. He's got that extra grip with the options, but how is he holding this?
These guys are all over the back of him like a rash. These three drivers are putting on a sensational end to the Grand Prix. As Mr. Indigo in second place tries to hang on. There's 1.5 laps left to go. As Velocity in the Lotus starts to attack him through Pillon. And you can see that Velocity, look how close he's got. Velocity's just got that much more confidence somehow into the Campus chicane. And also Indigo being on the option tyres, a bit too aggressive, might cook them. All of a sudden, the variables fall equal through Stabilo into Curva Palfrey. Ciaru looks at the back of X-Velocity, who's trying to chase down NMR Mr. Indigo down towards Blanchimont.
I was going to say Ciaru seemed a bit off over the last few corners, but he's closed right back up again.
He seems to save his curves of Curva Palfrey to attack through the bus stop. He's going on the inside. He's way on the brakes. And he's on the parallel now. Side pod glitch. He's got on the brakes and side pod glitched down about Mr. Indigo. And then he spun Velocity and himself. All three drivers have gone around.
You just have to
what the hell was that?
Well, Ciaru's sort of ruined any chance there of a good last lap.
Not necessarily. Velocity's still behind Indigo. Indigo has not got away. This race is not over. Coming off Eau Rouge, he's going to have the DRS, and this is his last real chance off Rodion. There goes the flap. He's got no curves left. But the car is closing. Is he going to go for a suicide dive into Lake Combe? No, he thinks better of it. He's just not got the traction. Through Lake Combe, and at Velocity, he's still keeping his eye on the back of Mr. Indigo. He's not going to let him get away, but he's gone wide of Bruxelles, and that has surely ended his race now.
I'm just waiting for the bit where to... but it hasn't.
Well, to be fair, Velocity got better run through the curve with no name, going through Pillon, but that gap is a bit further apart than it has been, and without the curves, I don't think he's got anywhere realistic. But going through Campus, we've seen Indigo make mistakes here. No mistakes this time. The Red Bull driver keeping it planted into Stabilo as we go down towards Curva Palfrey. And you can see that Velocity is giving it his absolute all. But I don't think he's got the pace in the car. And anymore, Mr. Indigo, Ciaru Button crosses the line to take the checkered flag. We've barely seen anything of him. There's been nothing to see. He's drawn magnificently well. Going through Blanchimont though, Velocity thinking about a way move to bus stop maybe. No, he's too far back. And he's going to have to cede and take third place. But he'll be slamming the steering wheel because of the collision between himself and behind him in fourth place, Ciaru.
It's not over between Reese 26 and Psychic Taco going through Blanchimont. Taco's closing.
Taco's got a lot of junk on his tyres now, and Taco's going wide at Blanchimont. Oh, here we go, bus stop chicane. Are we going to see last corner of the last lap here? Reese 26, they lock tyres. They lock tyres again and again. But has Taco got the drive? Reese is getting over the Reese. Takes it by a metre.
Jambo signed in for the evening. Good evening, Jambo. You wish you were here watching this race. Some great driving. And TRL Button takes the checkered flag with Indigo just holding on for Lexity. Ciaru really hurting his chances on the previous lap. Bobbert and Reese Taco, crikey, they were close. LGS, well, he'd live a slide today. By his standards, I should say. But very, very close race. You may as well get him in, Pete, if you can, whilst I get a picture of these results.
I've just invited the driver. We're just waiting for that. Meanwhile, as we head further on to the details, just waiting for all the drivers to join the podium. Been a very, very exciting race. TRL Button will go to you. Once you got ahead into the first corner, it just seemed like the race was yours to control. You barely seemed to be threatened, really.
Yeah. I changed my setup around a bit for this track, so I knew it was really understeery, and I knew that McLaren wasn't exactly good round here for corner grip and turning, so I had to change my setup around a bit. So that got me a bit more momentum, so I managed to create a gap to Ciaru and Alexi. I didn't really know what the gap was because it was glitched on the thing. It said like 30 seconds, then it was 9, then it was 2. Oh, what was going on?
Well, in the meantime, obviously it was a race that you had to control from the start. Moving on to Monza, is that a circuit where you expect more of the same, or do you think it's going to be a lot closer there?
I reckon I'm going to lose that one, to be fair, because I don't particularly like the track to race on, because, you know, you can corner cut a lot and you can extend a lot, and that's what I don't really like. So I've never really liked Monza, because you could just straight line it all the corners, so I don't particularly like Monza, but I'll try my best.
Oh, well, congratulations to you, enjoy the race. Meanwhile, further behind, NMR Mr. Indigo, those last 5 laps seemed somewhat chaotic, where we had both Ciaru and X-Velocity really scrapping hard, and you slowly catching them before bringing yourself into contention. Did you think, quite far away from the end, that you had a chance of making that podium and possibly finishing second?
A little bit. I mean, they pitted a good 5 laps before I did. So I knew the tyres were going to be good. I was on options as well. They were on prime, so I knew I had that. But that lap 43 is mad. I can't believe.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's something they'll be
like Bobbitt's, like he
reviewed and to your qualifying. Due to your qualifying where you started, did you realistically think you had a podium at the end of the race?
Not the podium. I started 10th, I think. The first didn't go so well as well. I like fell right behind. It was a mess.
Oh, well, in the meantime, then, congratulations to you, Indigo. Best of luck for next week in Monza. But let's say, meanwhile, we'll go over to you. All race, it seemed that you and Ciaru were nailed to each other's gearboxes, and you were constantly putting the pressure on each other to deliver and get in the big moments and the big passes. And then we had that penultimate lap where it looked like you might have avoided the worst of the fracas and got second place, only to then drop back to third. But still, compared to the start of the Grand Prix, was that a result that you were expecting, or did you really have your eyes on further forward?
Well, I was happy with podium because in my practice recently, I was only expecting P5, to be honest. I didn't really look that quick. I was disappointed with the quali though, because I think I could have definitely challenged for pole, to be honest. It was just a poor quali run. But it was another crazy race, just like Hungary, wasn't it? So.
Oh, indeed it was.
Yeah,
and for all you people out there who watched, thank you very much for being with us here. Of course, coverage brought to you tonight by GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk. Tomorrow night you've got the GP2 division where Connor Eyes will be bringing you coverage of that. And then on the Tuesday, it's the GP3 F4 doubleheader. Not know who's going to be covering what yet. I know I'll be doing at least one of those.
You'll be on F4.
There we go. That makes things easier. Then on the... Right, I see, okay. In the meantime, on the Wednesday, it's the doubleheader of F5000 and T6. And then, of course, next Sunday, we're going to be at the great legendary track Monza in Italy for the final leg of the European season before we move on to the fly array races in Asia. Can we see another great performance from CRL Button, or will it be a lot closer from all the field later on? Join us next week to find out.
Inspiration
Good
for
night.
winning is not kid.